Dick slapped the like button so hard that I'm being forced to pay for child support. You're welcome?
YugiNoNo!
King Prepare! Alright guys, so in this video, I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the new Shut Line counter trap card that comes out in Circuit Break, and I'm also going to be giving some of my own personal opinions about link summoning and like the zones or columns or whatever you want to call them in general, because for the most part, I think that they're really gay. But that is just my personal opinion, and I will explain why I think that way in just a minute. But first off, let's go ahead and jump right into this trap card so I can explain to you what it does before I go on my entire rant. So once again, this comes out in Circuit Break. It is a counter trap card called Shut Line. Its effect reads, when a spell, trap card, or a monster effect is activated in this face down card's column, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. And if you don't know what a column is, just think of it like, you know, just going in a straight line. So let's just say you have this card set in the middle, and your opponent normal summons, I don't know, Armageddon Knight, for example, and attempts to activate its effect, you can negate that activation. So in other words, this card, as well as other cards I'm sure that are yet to be announced to us, are going to have a big impact on the game, and I think they're going to really, you know, affect where we put our cards, like our card placement, which I do not like at all. I do acknowledge that it does add a little bit of strategy to the game. Let's just say you're about to summon something in this zone and you're fearing this card, you can now go ahead and MST, you know, this card in the column where you're about to put a monster. You know, let's just say you link summon a monster and you have, you know, these zones opened up and you need to summon an extra deck monster in that zone, and you're fearing this card, for example, you can MST this card because this card only affects, you know, cards in that column. So since this card only affects cards in its column, there's going to be a lot of situations, many situations where cards like Solemn Strike are going to be superior, because Solemn Strike doesn't give a shit where a monster effect activates. It pays 1500 and negates and destroys it. But this card does have the added benefit of doing spells and traps, which is very, very good. Because right now when you think about it, when it comes to like spell trap negation, we have cards like Wiretap, we have 7 Tools of the Bandit, and we have like Dark Bribe and stuff. And those cards kind of do see play on and off, you know, throughout the years in different formats, but I think that this card is superior in the fact that it does spells, traps, and monsters. I mean, the only downside, like I said, is the column, but it does spells, traps, and monsters. That's actually really, really good. So this card, along with Link Monsters, will go to further, you know, some strategy in the game. I personally just do not like it. I do not like being told, you know, where to put my cards. I mean, I free play a lot. You know, I play on cloth maps all the time. I really go to free play, and I just play for fun mostly. I haven't played, you know, real competitive Yu-Gi-Oh in a long time. Like, for example, I had like 3 invites last year. I have 0 this year. When I go to Nats, I'm going to the LCQ because I play casually most of the time. I'm not super serious about Yu-Gi-Oh like I used to be, and I have never liked dealing with super sticklers about where cards are because it really doesn't fucking matter. And I feel like this mechanic, it kind of like gives those people justification, which I really don't like. So those sticklers are going to enjoy this next leap in the game. I think they're going to get a real kick out of it. You know, people that are like hardcore OCD about, you know, card placement and everything and really care about, you know, putting cards in the pendulum zones, because I always like place my field spell zone sideways, and I always like, you know, put my pendulum monsters, you know, my pendulum scales, you know, sideways, like over here. And some people would like, it just legitimately drives them crazy. And like I said, guys, I free play a lot. A lot of the people that I play cards with, when I actually do play cards, you know, they free play a lot as well. So it has never been that big of a deal where you place cards. And for that reason right there, this whole, you know, column, you know, like zone mechanic, you know, forcing card placement is going to be a huge culture shock. I'm sure not only to me, but to, you know, a lot of other players everywhere that are just used to, you know, playing on, you know, zoneless mats and not really, you know, just being carefree about, you know, how they play Yu-Gi-Oh. And another thing that I want to bring up, especially because I'm good friends with MetaMats. MetaMats, of course, makes, you know, cloth play mats just like, you know, Spellgrounds and, you know, gym play mats and, you know, all those other guys. And I think that those companies might need to consider, you know, printing zones on their mats now, which is kind of crazy to think about, because I always thought that, you know, mousepad mats, you know, without the zones, and, you know, and cloth mats without the zones looked way cooler and way less tacky than, you know, mats with the zones. I never really liked the zones. I thought that, you know, mats with zones just kind of looked worse. But no way, MetaMats, guys, and like they're really cool designs, they will make it work. They will make the zones look badass, and it's just gonna be awesome. Speaking of which, like I said in a video last week, David is supposed to be sending me some free mats to give to you guys. I Skyped with him a few days ago, and he said he's gonna be sending me mats, you know, today, Wednesday, or tomorrow, Thursday. So I should have those mats by this weekend or next week for the free mat giveaway. I think I'm gonna get like 2 mats, but I'm not quite sure. So David, if you are watching this,
Hurry up so I can get my fans some free shit.
I'm just kidding though, but Not really. But yeah, guys, in closing here, I really want to know what you think. I think it is really important to get your thoughts on this, because if enough players don't like this, like, I mean, a lot of players are going to like it. They are going to like the additional strategy that this mechanic is going to bring, and that these new cards are going to bring, and that is completely fine. But if the response is just overwhelmingly negative towards, you know, these new cards and card placement and everything, do you think Konami will backtrack? I mean, I really think that they could. Very similar to, you know, CyberDark Impact and, you know, those cards that were created in CyberDark Impact that never really took off. I think it would be absolutely hilarious for this kind of mechanic to fail again, but that's just my opinion, and all these are really just my opinion. You guys are all entitled to your own opinions, and I would love to hear them down in the comment section. But yeah, once again, overall, I think that this card is really good. I think that, you know, if this mechanic does really take off, you know, the column-based, you know, mechanic really does take off in the game, which it looks like it's going to, this card is going to be really, really good. And I think that, you know, if it does take off and cards like this are played, they're going to make even more broken cards that are very similar to this that are going to replace it. Because that is just power creep in Yu-Gi-Oh, guys, and that is just how the game continues to evolve, and there's nothing that you or I can do about it. All we can do is embrace it and get used to it. But either way, guys, I've spoken my piece. I would love to hear your thoughts once again, and as always, be sure to dick slap that like button and subscribe. Subscribe!